ECW's resurrection in mid-2006 was met with a great deal of intrigue and potential, but also frustration and disappointment when the brand began to sour. The goal in this video today, we are going to relaunch WWE's rendition of ECW using WWE 2K24, with hopes to produce an entertaining product without straying away from some of the key characteristics this eventual train wreck would possess. Are we going to be reviving the ECW of old? Not quite, but we will be reinventing a brand that doesn't suck. Let's get to it. To kick off the first ECW episode as a part of the WWE, Tommy Dreamer and Balls Mahoney beat one another up in a merciless Extreme Rules match to open the show and get the crowd going. These two personified Extreme here and really set the tone for what this revitalization could be. In the end, Tommy Dreamer was able to come out victorious after hitting a Dreamer DDT. Rob Van Dam takes on Just Incredible in a showcase of the dual champions' athleticism and unique maneuvers. While Just Incredible has aspirations to hang with the face of two companies, RVD is clearly in an elite tier of competitors and is able to secure the pinfall. After the champion's victory, Edge makes an appearance on the show and hits Rob Van Dam from behind, making it known that he is coming for Rob Van Dam's WWE Championship. Elimination Fatal 4-Way to determine Rob Van Dam's first challenger for the ECW Championship. Sandman, Big Show, Kurt Angle, and Sabu spared no expense in efforts to crown themselves the rightful #1 contender to the ECW title. While every man gave it their all, it came down to Kurt Angle and Big Show, where Big Show was able to capitalize after an unhinged Sabu attacked Kurt Angle after being eliminated. The day before ECW, Sabu crashed Raw and attacked John Cena after his match, sending him through a table and making a challenge for a match at Vengeance. John Cena would accept that challenge, and an Extreme Rules match would take place at the pay-per-view. It doesn't get much different than these two stars coming from contrasting upbringings and combat styles. It was exciting, though Sabu came up short, but did bring a lot of attention to the ECW brand. Edge challenges Rob Van Dam for the WWE Championship. Edge and Rob Van Dam put on a back-and-forth contest that put Edge to the test against a competitor he is not extremely familiar with in Rob Van Dam's unparalleled athleticism. The Rated R superstar was laser-focused on dethroning the new champion, but RVD is an elite competitor and a deserving champion, so something had to give. RVD would successfully retain the WWE Championship. Back on weekly ECW television, Kevin Thorne debuts against Nunzio and puts on an impressive performance. Sabu squared off against Kurt Angle in one-on-one action. It was an exciting contest featuring contrasting forms of offense going head-to-head. Kurt Angle had Sabu out of his element going head-up against one of the best in-ring technicians of all time, but the ECW original didn't hesitate and brought fierce competition to the Olympic gold medalist and was flying around the ring. Kurt Angle seemed to have the match won with an ankle lock, but Sabu pulled a critical counter. The match continued on, with both competitors giving it everything they've got, until Kurt Angle was able to hit an angle slam and earn the victory. RVD is set to defend his ECW Championship against Big Show in an Extreme Rules match. The champion brings the fight to the Giant, but Big Show is extremely focused in this one. Neither man backs down, and they were quick to incorporate weapons into their arsenal. Much like on that fateful day in 2006, Paul Heyman attempts to screw Rob Van Dam, though in this universe, Tommy Dreamer intervenes and prevents the screw job, allowing Rob Van Dam to hit the 5-star frog splash and retain the ECW Championship against Big Show. On Monday Night Raw, WWE Champion Rob Van Dam is set to defend his title against former champion John Cena. Cena was the man who held the title prior to the ECW star and has got his rematch outside of hostile territory within the cozy confines of the WWE. These two put on a great match that featured a clash of Rob Van Dam's aerial offense and John Cena's rugged brawling style. Rob Van Dam may have escaped his previous defense still champion, but there is no guarantee here as anything could happen. John Cena was able to hit his ever-effective FU, and RVD's reign seemed bleak until he was able to dig deep and kick out of the pin attempt. RVD continued to fight, and Edge even made an attempt to interfere, resulting in a distraction for Cena in which RVD was able to capitalize on and secure his championship with the roll-up from behind. Back on ECW, Kevin Thorne takes on Tony Mamaluke, and we see Gangrel make his first appearance on the brand as a new brood is formed between the two vampiric characters. Kevin Thorne hits a devastating jawbreaker to end the match. Tommy Dreamer goes one-on-one with Stevie Richards and secures a victory thanks to a Death Valley driver, though after the match, Test makes his first appearance on the show and attacks Tommy Dreamer. In the main event, Edge comes over to ECW to align with Paul Heyman and Big Show in a tag team match to get RVD's attention and the WWE Championship. Kurt Angle teams with RVD to create this huge collision, and it's apparent that Rob Van Dam has plenty of eyes looking towards taking his titles. These 4 main event caliber stars put on an exciting match that shared swings of momentum, and while either team could emerge victorious, something had to give. After an exciting battle, it was the team of Edge and Big Show to walk out with the win after Big Show pinned Kurt Angle, with serious tension surrounding both championships. Rob Van Dam is back on Monday nights and once again looking to defend his WWE Championship. RVD has been a fighting champion ever since his title reign began, and while it hasn't been long, is still an admirable feat. The ECW standout squares off against the showstopper Shawn Michaels. The fans knew they were in for a treat with this one, and these 2 competitors did not disappoint. While the fans were split on rooting for another world title reign from the Heartbreak Kid and wanting to see the champ pull through, these 2 stopped at nothing to wear one another down and claim the game's greatest prize as their own. It was an exciting match that kept everyone on the edge of their seat, but in the end, Rob Van Dam secured the victory once more. After the match, Edge yet again sticks his nose into the champion's business, attacking Rob Van Dam and making it clear he will stop at nothing to become champion once more. Opening up ECW, Kevin Thorne and Gangrel take on the FBI in tag team action. The New Brood has been bullying the full-blooded Italians as of late, and that physical mistreatment continues here as Kevin Thorne, this time with the legal aid of Gangrel, decimates Nunzio to end the match. Tommy Dreamer and Test are scheduled to face one-on-one. However, Test wastes no time bringing the aggression to Tommy Dreamer, sneaking a cheap shot onto the innovator of violence, which would decisively give Test the upper hand and allow him to score a cheap pinfall victory. The main event is set to determine who will face Rob Van Dam at SummerSlam for the ECW Championship. Big Show and Kurt Angle will go head-to-head in Extreme Rules match. Big Show had a chance to capture the ECW Championship just a couple of weeks ago, but with the backing of Paul Heyman, it's no surprise to see more opportunities arise. Although in order to reach SummerSlam, the Olympic gold medalist stands in front of him. Good old Perk Angle was a different kind of machine at this point in time, and in this universe mode, he isn't going anywhere, so he is in full pursuit of the ECW Championship. In the end, Kurt Angle was able to secure his championship opportunity against Rob Van Dam at SummerSlam after defeating Big Show with an Angle Slam. Rob Van Dam is back on Raw, and this time squaring off against the Samoan Bulldozer. Umanga! Edge insisted that given Rob Van Dam's extreme nature, he should have no problem competing in a steel cage match. Thus, the WWE and ECW champion found himself locked inside a steel cage with nowhere to go. The price of being dual champion is clearly weighing on Rob Van Dam, though he is not deterred to compete by any means, as his resilience shines through yet again in a tough contest. The champ eventually hits a 5-star frog splash and is able to get his ass out of that cage and get out of Raw in one piece, much to Edge's disbelief. ECW opens up as Sabu attacks Kurt Angle backstage, leaving Angle battered and broken. Sabu claims that he should be the #1 contender to the ECW Championship. To kick off the in-ring action, Mike Knox makes his debut and handedly defeats Al Snow. Tommy Dreamer is scheduled to go one-on-one with Big Show. Dreamer has been the target of Paul Heyman's goons as of late since he interfered in Big Show's ECW Championship match a few weeks ago. The Giant has got his opportunity to take his frustrations out on the ECW original here, and he's going to make the best of his opportunity. Big Show puts on a dominant performance and defeats an already battered Tommy Dreamer. After the match, Test and Big Show look to inflict more punishment until the Sandman intervenes in aid of his friend and fellow ECW original. The main event once again features a member of the Raw roster. Edge has traveled back to the land of Extreme to take on Balls Mahoney in a tables match. Edge agreed to this match after Rob Van Dam emerged triumphant in his match on Raw the night before, and Balls wasn't going to make it easy. Despite a valiant effort from Mahoney, Edge secured the victory, and as SummerSlam nears, the inevitable clash between Edge and RVD becomes the center of WWE. Over on Monday Night Raw, in order to secure his #1 contendership status, Edge must defeat the Big Red Machine, Kane. Edge has been laser focused on taking the WWE title from Rob Van Dam, but he knows he won't come out of this match unscathed by any means. And that's a sacrifice he will have to make if he intends on becoming the WWE Championship at SummerSlam in just a matter of days. The Rated R superstar took a great deal of damage but was able to hang through the punishment and ultimately secure the victory and his contention after connecting with a huge spear. After the match, Rob Van Dam and Edge came face to face in the ring, with the tension between the two palpable throughout the arena. Back on ECW, CM Punk's first vignette airs, hyping up his arrival. Gangrel and Al Snow compete in an Extreme Rules match in the first bout of the night. It was a fun and physical match that entertained the crowd, but also displayed the lengths both of these men are willing to go to achieve victory. Momentum swayed, but ultimately Gangrel would pick up the victory. In the next match, the Sandman is set to go one-on-one with Test. The Sandman has stood by Tommy Dreamer's side in support against Paul Heyman and his goons, and Tommy Dreamer is returning the favor here by standing in the Sandman's corner. This made for a brutal encounter, and Tommy Dreamer and Big Show both got involved, resulting in their ejections. This made way for Test to pick up the uninterrupted win over the Sandman. Just mere days before SummerSlam, Sabu has got an opportunity to change the ECW title match. Following his assault on Kurt Angle last week, the two will go one-on-one in an Extreme Rules match to determine the true #1 contender. These two have gone one-on-one before, however Sabu has got the advantage of Extreme Rules on his side in this encounter. Despite Angle's relentless offense, Sabu refused to give up. Just when Sabu seemed to have the momentum, Paul Heyman emerged, screwing over another one of his dearest friends. Kurt Angle is apparently a Paul Heyman guy here in ECW, and picks up the victory and confirms his match with RVD for the gold come Sunday. Kurt Angle and Rob Van Dam are set to represent ECW on this SummerSlam match card, and these two are some of the best talents the entire company could offer. Rob Van Dam has got a full plate tonight with 2 title defenses, but he's going to have to focus on the man standing in front of him now, the wrestling machine Kurt Angle. This is an Extreme Rules match, but Kurt Angle is going to use what got him to the dance, and that's a barrage of suplexes and calculated offense. Rob Van Dam's unique styles allow him to take advantage of any moment, presenting 2 competitors with very few weaknesses. The battle took place all over, whether in or out of the ring, but when the dust had settled, Kurt Angle was able to apply a second ankle lock of the match, forcing Rob Van Dam to submit, relinquishing the ECW Championship. Immediately following the match, Edge makes his entrance, and it is announced that the WWE Championship match will begin right away. Rob Van Dam was set up for failure here, and he's once again being screwed. Edge was looking for an easy victory, but was shaken to his core when Rob Van Dam kicked out. Edge went on to hit multiple spears on an already beaten Rob Van Dam. This match ended in sickening fashion, and a new WWE champion was crowned. If you're enjoying the video and would like to see how 2007 plays out, give this video a like to expedite the continuation of this universe. Thanks. Back on ECW, CM Punk makes his debut against Just Incredible. CM Punk puts on an impressive display as he handles the ECW veteran with a relentless offense, defeating him with the Anaconda Vice. Test is set to go one-on-one with Balls Mahoney with Extreme Rules in play. While the two took part in a physical encounter, the focus was on Tommy Dreamer's interference that made way for Balls Mahoney coming out on top in a surprising upset. Kurt Angle holds an open challenge for anybody in the arena who feels they'd have a shot taking his championship. The challenge was answered by Sabu, looking for redemption from his previous losses and showing no fear in the face of the wrestling machine. This was an epic battle in which both competitors were pushed to their limits. Sabu continued to fight back from Kurt Angle's overwhelming offense and often found unique ways to inflict damage to the champion. In the end, Sabu took one risk too many, which made room for Kurt Angle to capitalize and retain the ECW Championship. Rob Van Dam is on a business trip to Monday Night Raw, where he is challenging Edge in his shot to regain the WWE Championship after the events that had occurred at SummerSlam. These two would go on to deliver an exciting performance before the audience, with both men displaying their desire to be champion. Rob Van Dam's resilience and refusal to go down was overcast by Edge's disregard for nobility and sportsmanship, as the rated R superstar would ultimately get himself disqualified in order to retain his championship despite taking the loss. ECW opens up with Paul Heyman in the ring, surrounded by Test and Big Show. Paul Heyman states that Kurt Angle will not be in attendance this evening, and Rob Van Dam will not be granted an ECW Championship rematch given his choice to appear on Raw the night before. He also announces the main event. Tommy Dreamer will go one-on-one with Big Show in a steel cage match, as Dreamer will pay for his interference in Test's match last week. Lastly, Heyman plans to bring back a former WWE Championship that also embodies the spirit of ECW, the Hardcore Championship. A tournament is announced that is set to begin tonight. In the first match of the evening, Al Snow, Nunzio, and Just Incredible compete in an Extreme Rules match, where the winner will find themselves in the Hardcore title tournament. These three tear one another apart in hopes to earn an opportunity, but only one can emerge victorious. The match was more entertaining than it really had any right to be, but in the end, It was Nunzio who came out on top with a big upset. However, unfortunately for Nunzio, it was announced that his match in the Hardcore title tournament was in fact next, and on top of that, against Test. Test brutalized an already worn down Nunzio, and the little Guido took a tough loss here with the circumstances clearly in favor of Heyman's goon. To end the night, Tommy Dreamer and Big Show have got unresolved issues with one another. Big Show, one of Paul Heyman's goons, is set on eliminating Heyman's oppositions, and at the moment, there's no greater source of resistance than Tommy Dreamer. Dreamer's issues with Heyman stem from his disgust and disapproval of the actions of his former friend, and disagrees with the direction Heyman is trying to take the brand these days. However, Big Show is a dominant force, and ultimately left Tommy Dreamer broken and battered as Big Show secured the victory and got his ass out of that cage. Back on Monday Night Raw, Edge was able to defeat Shawn Michaels in a singles match to main event the night. However, this match was highlighted by Rob Van Dam's appearance on the show, where he confronted Edge and made a challenge to Edge for the WWE Championship at Unforgiven. ECW on Sci-Fi opens up with the second match in the Hardcore title tournament, and it features the ECW debut of Hardcore Holly, going one-on-one with CM Punk. As these matches are all under Extreme Rules, CM Punk's technical offense was less prevalent. Hardcore Holly was aggressive and is a former Hardcore champion in his own right. The two put on an entertaining match, but CM Punk was able to get the win and move on to the next round of the tournament. The full-blooded Italians are setting out to gain a measure of revenge for last week's action, a tag team match against Test and Big Show, Heyman's goons. While their efforts were admirable, their results were less than ideal as the FBI took a tough loss here. In the main event, Kurt Angle is squaring off with the Sandman in a table match. The Sandman is out of favor with the ECW general manager Paul Heyman, and Kurt Angle is acting as muscle for the boss here and aims to beat the Sandman into obedience, which will be much easier said than done. The long list of accolades and accomplishment under Kurt Angle's name doesn't sway the Sandman away from competing with the gold medalist, but the ECW champion displays his dominance and sends the ECW original through a table to end the match. To follow, Paul Heyman came into the ring to celebrate with his champion. However, Kurt Angle surprisingly hit Heyman with an angle slam, claiming that he is the puppet to nobody and will not be labeled as anyone's project, leaving fans to wonder what's next for the new face of the brand. Back on Raw, ahead of their match at Unforgiven, Rob Van Dam and Edge are to compete against one another in a tag team contest. RVD will be fighting alongside ECW champion Kurt Angle, whereas Edge will be tagging with Randy Orton. This was a star-studded main event on Raw, and the ECW representatives were determined to upset the Raw superstars on their own turf. Rob Van Dam and Edge used this opportunity to wear one another down before their big title match, and Kurt Angle and Randy Orton had their own opportunities to showcase their abilities to the entire WWE universe. An RKO nearly ended it, but Kurt Angle was able to tag in and execute the Angle Slam to secure the victory for the ECW stars. ECW opens with a continuation of the Hardcore Championship tournament as Kevin Thorne takes on Balls Mahoney. These are two big guys who have no hesitation to use any means necessary to propel themselves forward, and this contest was sure to be physical. Thorne has got the support of the New Brood in his corner, and their distractions were beneficial, though Thorne's impressive power was the primary catalyst to his victory and advancement in the tournament. Tommy Dreamer cuts a promo in the ring, trying to get through to Paul Heyman that what he's doing is only going to worsen the brand he put so much effort into building. Heyman came to the stage to confront Dreamer, stating that Dreamer doesn't know what he's talking about, and that the longevity of ECW is the most important thing to him. However, his ECW originals clearly don't have what it takes anymore. After Heyman finished, Test appeared in the ring and took out Tommy Dreamer. In the next match, Hardcore Holly is back in action and looking to redeem his loss from the week prior by challenging CM Punk to a rematch. Punk showed no hesitation, answering the challenge immediately. Despite Holly's focus, CM Punk was able to secure another victory after hitting a huge avalanche pedigree. In the main event, Paul Heyman is ordering Kurt Angle, the champion who Heyman thought was on his side, to defend his title against Heyman's right-hand man, Big Show. Kurt Angle shocked the ECW crowd last week when he hit Heyman with an angle slam, leaving fans to wonder where Angle's allegiance lies. This is a pay-per-view worthy, colossal clash between two dominant competitors, and the crowd was treated to an entertaining yet brutal battle. Kurt Angle's championship was threatened, but in the end, the Olympic gold medalist was able to hit an immobilizing angle slam outside of the ring, which would effectively end the match and continue his title reign. In the main event of Unforgiven, Rob Van Dam is set to challenge Edge for the WWE Championship in a match they're both comfortable in, a TLC match. Edge has relied on his title to define his status as the best in the business, while Rob Van Dam believes he never would have lost to Edge had he had not defended the ECW title beforehand. Rob Van Dam seemed to have the match in the bag after sending Edge through a table with a splash outside of the ring. As RVD was reaching for glory, the ECW champion Kurt Angle sabotaged the historic performance, delivering an angle slam and throwing RVD out of the ring, allowing Edge to take the WWE Championship down for himself in an ending that left a sour taste in everyone's mouths, especially the fans of ECW. The following Tuesday night, Kurt Angle is in the ring to start the show, offering an explanation to his recent actions. Angle explains that the ECW brand is beneath him, and he deserves to be in the WWE title picture, not Rob Van Dam. Angle detests the fact that Rob Van Dam has been getting so many opportunities while he has either proved to be the better competitor or just outright bailed Rob Van Dam out on countless occasions. Kurt Angle claims he refuses to do any more charity work for the most unappreciative, undisciplined tribe of idiots he has ever seen. Angle calls out ECW originals as well as Paul Heyman and his goons. Claiming to have the blessings of Vince McMahon, he is going to bring changes to ECW that will better the brand and the people in it. Hardcore Holly takes on Justin Credible to kick off the in-ring competition. Hardcore Holly is visibly frustrated after starting his ECW tenure off 0-2 and is looking to change that donut in his win column here. While he is able to do so, he continues to unleash his frustration and adds insult to injury post-match. Another match in the Hardcore title tournament is next. Sabu taking on Mike Knox. Two contrasting individuals here on entirely different ends of their career. Sabu, the savvy veteran, and Mike Knox, who has only one match under his belt so far. While Mike Knox had looked dominant in his debut, Sabu has shown that he's currently on a different level and is able to get the victory despite a solid effort from Mike Knox. To end the night, Tommy Dreamer will go one-on-one with Test, with all rules thrown out the window. Tommy Dreamer and Test have yet to have a true one-on-one match, seeing as Test snuck in a cheap shot for a disadvantage in their lone past encounter, and both of these guys were intent on doing damage to one another. But in the end, Test ended the match with a pump handle slam. The next episode of ECW opens up with the first match of the second round of the Hardcore title tournament. Sabu and Kevin Thorne are set to go one-on-one, where the winner will be competing to become the Hardcore champion in the next round. Sabu has got to bounce back quickly after competing in a taxing match last week, but Sabu is no rookie and has got no problem competing in this hectic match type. Kevin Thorne has been dominant so far in ECW and looks to continue his momentum. It was a match that could have gone either way, but ultimately Sabu was able to come out victorious. Kurt Angle and Big Show are seen speaking backstage, though it is unclear what they are discussing. Hardcore Holly is set to go one-on-one with Rob Van Dam, who's having his first match back on ECW since his loss to Edge at Unforgiven. Hardcore Holly's rugged and aggressive style was on display here, but Rob Van Dam was able to take care of business and get the victory with a frog splash. This would greatly frustrate Hardcore Holly as shown by his post-match actions. Kurt Angle announces the debut of a promising new star set to make his first match in the main event tonight against Al Snow. Elijah Burke looks impressive, but what may be more notable is the apparent support of Kurt Angle in his corner, making Burke a legitimate potential threat. Later in the week, Kurt Angle appears on Friday Night SmackDown and aids Booker T in a main event match with Rey Mysterio, throwing a chair into the ring for the world champion to use to steal a cheap victory, showing some sense of cooperation between the two champions. ECW opens up as the Hardcore title tournament continues with Test going one-on-one with CM Punk. This is a match worthy of the main event spotlight, as both of these guys have demonstrated themselves to be worthy and legitimate contenders, and the winner will face Sabu for the reinstated championship. These two went back and forth, but it likely would have ended with a CM Punk victory had Hardcore Holly not got involved. Test hit a TKO and picked up the victory to move on. Al Snow and Hardcore Holly are seen backstage. Snow shows support to Hardcore Holly's frustrations with their recent losses, but pleads for him to take a different approach. Kurt Angle brings another new face to the ECW locker room, though this time he's not a rookie by any means. Former Intercontinental Champion Shelton Benjamin joins Elijah Burke in a tag team match per request by Kurt Angle. This team makes a statement as they cruise to victory over Nunzio and Tony Mamalu. The main event of the show has got Big Show going one-on-one with the Sandman. These two have become rather familiar with one another as of late, and they have the chance to go at one another even though this match will not be contested under Extreme Rules. Big Show was dominant, but the Sandman can endure a ton of punishment. This match took a surprising turn as the Sandman was able to score the upset victory by a countout, angering the Giant. Rob Van Dam is invited by Rey Mysterio to SmackDown to compete in a 6-man tag team match, as they both got reason to get their hands on Kurt Angle, who was looking to gain some favor of the World Heavyweight Champion Booker T. Bobby Lashley has surprisingly sided with Booker T and Angle here, and he proved to be a beneficial ally in this match filled with star power. These two teams turned in an exciting performance for the SmackDown fans, but in the end, Kurt Angle's team was able to walk away victorious. The show opens with Shelton Benjamin competing in singles action against Balls Mahoney. While Mahoney does have amateur wrestling acumen, he is unable to hang with Shelton Benjamin here. CM Punk and Hardcore Holly are found brawling backstage. CM Punk leaves with the upper hand and says it's not over between he and Hardcore Holly. Bobby Lashley is brought to ECW to raise the level of competition according to Kurt Angle, and he is set to go mano a mano with Rob Van Dam. Kurt Angle has built quite the stable over time, committing to his declaration of improving the brand he represents, even if against his own will. Rob Van Dam is a top-tier competitor, but Bobby Lashley is extremely talented in his own right, and with the aid of the ECW champion in his corner, as well as a surprising interference from the WWE champion Edge, the young star was able to pull off a huge upset and pick up a big victory. In the main event, the Hardcore Championship tournament concludes with Test going one-on-one with Sabu. This was a violent climax to a brutal tournament that captured the determination of these competitors, as they gave it their all to be crowned ECW's first Hardcore champion. It's worth mentioning that this iteration of the Hardcore Championship will not be under 24/7 rules. By the end of the match, a bloodied Sabu was able to overcome the power of Test and crown himself the new champion. On Raw, Edge is defending the WWE Championship against Triple H in the main event. While Triple H was gaining control late, Edge benefited from ECW champion Kurt Angle once again appearing on a competing brand and aiding the world champion in hanging onto his championship despite slimy efforts. After the match, Kurt Angle declares that his group of WWE superstars are going to finally put Old Yeller down and bring the end of ECW for the WWE fans. He discusses the negotiating and networking that has been necessary to create this super team, and that at Survivor Series, the end will finally come and he will be back home in the WWE. To open the next edition of ECW, Kurt Angle is seen speaking backstage with Paul Heyman. Kurt Angle promises Heyman he will pay for his mistreatments, and that he can only stand and watch as the brand he tried to build will fall, as a contract has been constructed granting Kurt Angle's release from ECW should his team win at Survivor Series, leaving ECW without a champion. CM Punk and Hardcore Holly are set to get their grievances with one another settled once and for all with one final Extreme Rules match between the two. CM Punk blames Hardcore Holly for costing him in the Hardcore Championship tournament, while Holly blames CM Punk for his poor win-loss record. The two go at it in a physical encounter, but CM Punk once again leaves the match victorious. Gangrel is back in action against Stevie Richards. Gangrel is accompanied by the New Brood and is able to pick up the victory here. The main event is action-packed as Kurt Angle has got to defend his ECW championship in a quote-unquote triple threat, this time taking on Heyman's goons, Test and Big Show. Paul Heyman is visibly shaken after hearing the news that his brand is in danger. If he's got no champion, his brand's value and exposure goes down to dangerous levels. Given that Survivor Series is in a matter of days, Heyman can only do so much in hopes that Angle drops the title. Kurt Angle had the odds stacked against him, and struggled at times, but if anyone could hold their own in this situation, it'd be him. But Big Show shocked the crowd as well as his partner Test when he left the match after hitting Test with a chokeslam, leaving Test to go head up with the wrestling machine. Kurt Angle seemed all too prepared for this, showing that Big Show had also sided with Angle's super team, leaving ECW's chances of survival looking extremely bleak. Bobby Lashley is set to defend his SmackDown turf against ECW original and hardcore champion Sabu. Bobby Lashley had the opportunity to display his power, and Sabu in turn displayed his unorthodox and daredevil approach. It was an exciting match, but it ultimately broke down after interference from Rob Van Dam. ECW takes part in Survivor Series with a massive 4-on-4 elimination tag team match pitting ECW fighting for survival against Kurt Angle's self-proclaimed WWE super team, The team of ECW originals featuring Rob Van Dam, Sabu, Sandman, and Tommy Dreamer have got a tall task in front of them, but they show no fear in the face of a legit threat to the company they all love. The WWE stars displayed their dominance as Tommy Dreamer and Sandman were the first two eliminated from the match. Edge couldn't believe what had happened when Rob Van Dam was able to hit Edge with the surprise roll-up to eliminate the Rated R superstar. Bobby Lashley then hit a Dominator on Sabu to eliminate the Hardcore Champion, and Rob Van Dam faced steep odds in a 3-1 encounter. And just when the end seemed near, Bobby Lashley left the match. While his motives are unclear at this time, the deficit was cut 2-1. Big Show and Kurt Angle took turns deflating the remaining life out of RVD, and the end was near. However, in true Big Show fashion, the Giant once again turned and hit Kurt Angle with a chokeslam. It was an unbelievable sequence of events, but Big Show too left the match and eliminated himself by countout. Rob Van Dam as well as the WWE Universe was shocked by what had just taken place. But RVD did the only thing he knows. He hit the 5-star frog splash and pinned the ECW champion, ending the match in favor of Team ECW despite so much confusion and uncertainty. As RVD and the rest of ECW rejoiced, Paul Heyman was spotted at the stage as we move on from Survivor Series and onto the final ECW pay-per-view of the year. Back on weekly television, Matt Striker makes his ECW debut and easily picks up his first victory against the local talent. Paul Heyman makes his way to the ring, ready to address the rowdy ECW crowd following the fallout of Survivor Series. Heyman claims his confidence in ECW was there all along, not because of who represented the team, but because of his plan in place. Big Show was loyal to Heyman all along, as it was their plan to lead Kurt Angle into false belief of a super team. Heyman reassures everyone ECW is going nowhere, and a new day is near, one in which Angle will regret not getting away from. The next match features Sabu making his first defense of the Hardcore Championship against Balls Mahoney. The two put on a brutal match that is a precursor for the brutality that will come from this Hardcore division, but in the end the title remains with Sabu. After the match, Sabu is confronted by the legend that is Cactus Jack, who lays the challenge for the Hardcore Championship at the December to Dismember pay-per-view. The main event of the show consists of Kurt Angle going one-on-one against one of his own acquisitions to the brand, Bobby Lashley. Lashley turned his back on Angle at Survivor Series, and we have yet to hear why. It's apparent there's no love lost between these two though, and there's no hesitation to bring the fight on either end. These two push one another to the limits, delivering an exciting match but are ultimately counted out, though not before Lashley sends Kurt Angle through the announce table. To open up the show, the main event of December to Dismember is announced. An Elimination Chamber match for the ECW Championship consisting of the 5 biggest threats to Kurt Angle's title, but that's not all. He'll also be taking part in a steel cage match this evening to headline the night. Elijah Burke is once again out for competition, but he hasn't got Angle by his side, and he is visibly displeased. He'll go one-on-one with Tony Mamaluke. The FBI member puts up a fight, but Elijah Burke is able to come away with the victory, even without Angle's support. Bobby Lashley speaks for the first time regarding his actions at Survivor Series. Lashley claims that he has been looking forward to coming to ECW for a fresh start. After being overlooked on SmackDown, Lashley used Kurt Angle's interest to receive an ECW contract, where he will become the face of the brand and finally get the recognition he deserves. Lashley claims to have been humble for a long time, but it's time he seeks his flowers. Test is set to challenge Sabu for the Hardcore Championship, a rematch from the tournament finals. Another brutal battle was underway between these two, with both men displaying a clear determination to be recognized as the Hardcore Champion. Sabu has been fearless when defending his newly won title as of late, and is once again staring down a formidable opponent. Sabu has got a match set with Cactus Jack in a few weeks, but that's not happening if he can't escape here with the title. Test was gaining the upper hand though until Tommy Dreamer crashed the party, aiding Sabu to retain the championship. The main event of the evening finds the ECW champion locked inside a steel cage and set to go one-on-one with Tommy Dreamer, another superstar who is not in good standing with the general manager Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is using this match to discipline both stars, knowing their intensity in the ring is going to make it impossible for an easy outing ahead. These two turned in an exciting match, but the champion ended the night victorious. Tommy Dreamer goes one-on-one with Matt Striker on the next episode of ECW. Dreamer just went toe-to-toe with Kurt Angle last week, so it's safe to say he's on top of his game lately. Dreamer is able to defeat Matt Striker here after hitting a Dreamer DDT. After the match, Tommy Dreamer makes a statement to Paul Heyman that Heyman can't keep him down, and he's going to continue to be a pain in Paul Heyman's ass until Heyman comes to his senses. Shelton Benjamin and Elijah Burke are seen backstage in the midst of a heated conversation, where Benjamin is expressing his frustrations towards Kurt Angle for getting them stuck on ECW. Burke wants to stick together, but Benjamin wants nothing to do with him. Hardcore Holly, accompanied by Al Snow, is set to go one-on-one with Gangrel, who is accompanied by Kevin Thorne. Hardcore Holly has not had great success lately, and the new brood has been building momentum rather consistently. However, the moral support of Al Snow propelled Bob Holly just enough to pick up the victory here. The final match of the show will feature 4 competitors who will take part of the Elimination Chamber at December to Dismember. CM Punk and Bobby Lashley will be tagging up against Rob Van Dam and the Sandman. This was an exciting contest that went back and forth, and showcased the level of talent that is beginning to fill the ECW brand. Athleticism, aggression, and power were all displayed from these guys, and in the end, it was the team of CM Punk and Bobby Lashley to secure the big victory and build some momentum as the pay-per-view nears. To open the show, Tommy Dreamer was found knocked out backstage. Paul Heyman approaches the Downstar and informs him he will be fighting for his survival as his career will be put on the line against Test at the pay-per-view. We've got tag team action kicking off ECW this week, as Hardcore Holly and Al Snow have brought back the Job Squad, and they are set to take on the full-blooded Italians. ECW doesn't have a tag team division at this time, but any kind of victory to get yourself noticed can move you forward here in the land of extreme. Holly and Snow displayed supreme teamwork and are able to get the victory. But after the match, the new brood would appear at the stage and make a challenge for a tag team match at December to Dismember. The night moves on with more tag team action as Shelton Benjamin and Elijah Burke are set to take on the monstrous team of Big Show and Test. Heyman is in need of a tune-up match for his goons ahead of the pay-per-view, and these two disgruntled stars make for perfect training dummies. While formidable in their own right, it's clear they have no intentions of working together, and Shelton Benjamin even leaves the match, leaving Burke to fight on his own. Paul Heyman's goons capitalize to secure the victory, and after the match, Vince McMahon, who we are not going to waste a storage slot for, makes a surprise appearance on ECW, and announces that Elijah Burke and Shelton Benjamin will go one-on-one at the pay-per-view, where the winner will be granted their release to the brand of their choosing. The final match before the December to Dismember pay-per-view has got the ECW champion competing against the vampiric giant, Kevin Thorne. Both competitors are looking to build momentum ahead of their upcoming matches, and this Extreme Rules match will certainly help get any nerves out that may be there. Kevin Thorne made a case for himself as a potential ECW title contender, but ultimately the wrestling machine was too much to handle, and the champion scored a big victory heading into his huge title defense. We've made it to December to Dismember, and to kick off a big night, Shelton Benjamin and Elijah Burke are going to go one-on-one, but the winner will receive Vince McMahon's blessings to move to any brand of their choosing. The two competitors were brought to ECW by Kurt Angle, and it's become clear that neither of them have wishes to stay in the land of extreme. The crowd is lively and hostile towards these two, as shown by the hailstorm of boos from the crowd after Shelton Benjamin ended the match with a T-bone suplex and secured the victory as well as his ticket out of the ECW. The Job Squad has reunited and is currently undefeated. Gangrel and Kevin Thorne were shocked when Hardcore Holly gained a singles victory on ECW, and are looking to gain a measure of revenge to prove their might. Hardcore Holly and Al Snow are two tough superstars, and despite the strength discrepancy, show no hesitation to engage in vampiric combat. It is worth noting that Al Snow would have brought out Head wearing a necklace made of garlic. Regardless, the new brood were able to make up for the singles loss a couple weeks ago with a victory here in this physical no DQ tag team match. Tommy Dreamer and Test are finally going to put an end to their physical feud. If Tommy Dreamer loses, he must leave ECW. Test is acting in the interests of GM Paul Heyman, who feels that Tommy Dreamer has worn out his usefulness to ECW as well as professional wrestling as a whole. Tommy Dreamer has done everything he could to throw a wrench in the plans of Heyman's, quote, new vision of ECW. Tommy Dreamer exemplified his undying spirit as he continued to kick out of high-impact moves. And while the first TKO surprisingly didn't keep Dreamer down, a second one did. And much to the disappointment of the fans, Tommy Dreamer must leave ECW following the loss. Dreamer takes a moment to embrace the ECW crowd, displaying gratefulness as he says goodbye. Sabu defends his hardcore championship against Cactus Jack in a hardcore match. These two icons of Bloodsport are sure to define what ECW is all about, and they're not going to hold anything back. Sabu has been enjoying the recognition of being the hardcore champion, and there's not many people that belt means more to than the man behind the persona of Cactus Jack. The referee's only use in this match was to count the pinfall, as they took full advantage of the lack of rules and fought all around the ring, using any kind of weapons they could find. Cactus Jack was gaining the upper hand and hit a huge DDT on the entrance ramp, and Sabu was not looking good. Jack had ignited a table and had every intention of sending Sabu through it, though Sabu would turn the tables and send Cactus Jack through the flaming table via a superplex. Sabu was feeling himself, so he hit the spiral tap to end the match and secure his Hardcore Championship. Main event time. Elimination Chamber. Kurt Angle is tasked to defend his championship against the Sandman, CM Punk, Rob Van Dam, Bobby Lashley, and Paul Heyman's right-hand man, Big Show. The match had begun, and there was no turning back. Sandman got eliminated immediately after entering, following a huge right hand from the Big Show. The battle waged on, and eventually Big Show was eliminated by Bobby Lashley, who would then shortly take a GTS from CM Punk and bring forth his departure from the match. The match was moving at a breakneck speed, and CM Punk countered a Rob Van Dam pin attempt into a crucifix pin that would eliminate the former ECW heavyweight champion, and we had come down to the final two, Kurt Angle and CM Punk. Something has got to give between these two, and it truly could go either way at this point. CM Punk hit the GTS, and that had to be it, though Kurt Angle wasn't giving in that easily. He kicked out and pushed on. Neither man gave an inch, but CM Punk would find a way to apply the Anaconda Vice, forcing the Olympic gold medalist to submit and relinquish the championship, capping the night off with a champion that does not cause Paul Heyman to leave the company. Let me know down below how we stack up to the real revitalization of ECW. 2007 will be a new era in the ECW history books, and we hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy.